Happy New Year, everybody. Happy 2023. It's the new year, and it's a new you and a new opportunity. My name's Terry. You're listening to Tuesdays with Terry, and I'm your friend. I'm talking to you live from Austin, Texas, where normally the sun is hot, but I'm going to tell you, it's freezing. It's below 32 degrees. I had to cover the plants and the trees last night. It was crazy cold up here, but the barbecue is still sweet, and the drinks are always free, no matter what the temperature is outside when you're hanging out with me. So come on down to Austin, Texas. We'd love to have you. You know, it's the new year, and as you look forward into the new year in 2023, you got to say to yourself, man, what's going to change? And you've heard me say it 100 times. If you want to change some things in your life, you're going to have to change some things in your life. And what a better way, you're listening to this on January the 3rd, and it is the new year. And so I just want to ask you a couple questions as you look forward into the new year. I want you to take a little perspective and a little life check, a little checkup from the neck up, as they say. And I want to know, do you have a plan for this year to get to the promised land? You know what? I don't know what the promised land for you is in 2023. The promised land could be a new job. It could be a new house. It could be a new spouse. The house, the spouse, the job, the career. It could be your income. It could be paying off some credit cards this year. Maybe you're going to get in the best shape of your life at whatever age. I mean, when were you in the best shape of your life, and what were you doing then that you're not doing now? I went through some of those a little while back when I talked about 101 ways to get fit, or 101 benefits of exercise and what it can really do. But I wanted to ask you, in 2023, are you just going to show up, or are you really going to perform? You know, my good friend Ellen Latham talked about that. She visited us here a while back, and she came up to the front desk and she talked about the difference between showing up and the difference between performing. You know, everybody can show up. I mean, you got to show up just to get in the game. But the real question is are you going to do everything you did yesterday? And if you are, today's not going to be any better than yesterday because you're simply just showing up. Or are you really bringing your A game? Are you really going to perform? Are you really putting on a show for the customers? I've had the great opportunity to spend a lot of time down at the Disney program and the Disney Institute, and you know, they call all of their employees cast members because they are on stage and backstage. Every time they go out in front of a customer, they perceive themselves to be on stage like a Broadway show. I had the opportunity a few weeks ago to go to MJ, the One, Michael Jackson on Broadway, and watch the show. And I don't know how many times those actors and actresses performed that show, but for me, it was the very first time that I saw it. And for them performing, they made it seem like it was their very first time performing. If you're in a customer service, you're in a retail job, you're dealing frontline position and you're dealing with customers, are you showing up, or are you really performing like you're on stage? And even though you've said it 100 times, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness, does it sound like the very first time? And are you really talking to me? Are you going to take a sincere interest in me? What does it really take? You've heard this as well. It takes a village to really make things happen. I want to let you know that 2023, if you thought 2022 was hard, 2023 is probably going to be hard as well. Nothing comes easy. Nothing ever falls in your lap. You know this. It comes with hard work. It comes with effort. It comes with performing. You see, if you're headed to the Super Bowl this year, you're not just going to be able to show up on that super game. You're going to have to show up with the uniform, with the game plan, and it's time to perform. You're going to have 4 quarters to perform. You're going to have 4 quarters in 2023 to perform. Are you ready to perform versus just showing up? You see, winners perform. You have to ask yourself is, what can I do this year? And who can I help? That's right. When I say who can you help, you're probably thinking about what customers could you help? May I help you? But I'm telling you, if you have a job and you're employed, you need to be thinking about how can you help your business grow? How can you help your business thrive and survive? What are you doing that can help? You see, the way you talk to a customer, the way that you deal with a customer, the way that you interact and engage with a customer, the way maybe you're in a job where you don't engage with customers, but you're behind the scenes, you're behind the back of the house, the way that you engage with your coworkers, the way that you come to work, the attitude and progressiveness that you look at your daily task. Are you speaking up? Or are you just on autopilot, man? I mean, this thing is, if you're on autopilot and you're drifting from 2022 into 2023, man, you better get your eyes up because that plane is going to run into the side of the mountain. That's where autopilots get you. You got to get it off autopilot. Are you going to watch this year? Are you going to be a spectator this year and watch and see what happens? Or are you going to get in there and are you going to play the game? A lot of it comes down to personal accountability and keeping your promises to yourself. You probably have already gone through, or if you haven't already gone through, I highly recommend it. It's the first week of the year. You need to go through an exercise that says, what do I want to see happen? And what is my game plan? What do I want to do this year? And how am I going to hold myself accountable so that in a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, it doesn't fall off the wagon? You know this in the health club business, man. January, it gets busy in the gym. I tell you, it's one of the busiest times, and everybody's got New Year's resolutions, and man, they're really good the first week, and they're pretty good the second and the third week, and by the fourth week, man, they're still trying to hold on, and then we drop into February, and by the time we get to March, what happened to our goals? You got to hold yourself accountable. Mel Robbins says is the best. No one is coming. No one's coming for you. No one's coming to save you. No one's coming to bail you out. No one's coming to do your job for you. This is going to be up to you. Do you have some goals for this year? Are they realistic? Are they attainable? Are you looking at this year to get better and better in every way, every single day? Or are you just saying, well, it's probably going to be a lot like last year? I don't think the COVID's really going to get over. They got a new form of that COVID, the virus, and it's still running rampant. I don't know what you're thinking, but maybe you've got some stinking thinking, and you need to change what's going into your mind. How are you going to hold yourself accountable, and what are the KPIs? KPI stands for key performance indicators. A lot of times we look at that for business, but I would ask you, are you looking at it at your business, and are you looking at your KPIs for yourself? Simple KPI is get on the scales. KPI is your weight. Where do you want to be and where are you at? What's the gap? The difference between where you are and where you want to be and the plan to get there is called strategic thinking. But do you have a goal for your business, for revenue, for payroll, for net members or net improvement, for EBITDA? Do you have those same kind of goals for yourself? Do you know how much income you want to have come in? Do you know how much you're going to pay yourself and how much you're going to put in investments or savings? Do you know the friends that you want to keep and the friends that you need to move away from? What I'm talking about is customizing a plan for you. A lot of people think it's the magic pill or some kind of magic is going to happen when that ball drops in New York City, man, and we count it down, 10, 9, all the way, 3, 2, 1. Something different, miraculous is going to happen, and we kiss the person next to us, a significant other. We toast the champagne. We find ourselves a day later or 2 days later in the same situation we were 3 days ago in 2022. If it's going to change, it's got to change. If nothing changes, nothing changes. If you want to make some changes in your life, you've got to make some changes in your life. You want to make some changes in business, you got to make some changes in business. But you must deliver. No one can do your push-ups for you. You've heard me say that before. It's about the effort. Here you go. I want to give you 10 things that I think that you need to be thinking about as you press forward to 2023. Number one is realistic and attainable goals. How can I get better? I don't have to be perfect, but I need to be the best that I can be, the best version of myself. Number two is each person must move the ball forward. How are you going to move the ball forward in your relationship? How are you going to move the ball forward in your finances? How are you going to move the ball forward in your fitness and in your health and in your wellness and your mental health? How are you going to move the ball forward in your career? How are you going to move the ball forward with your boss? How are you going to move the ball forward with your coworkers? How are you going to move the ball forward in your church? You've got to move the ball forward, because when we stop growing, we start dying. Number 3, identify the promised land and get some kind of mantra for yourself. You know, in the fitness business, we have a number of studios across the country, and we had a mantra for a while. It was called No Studio Left Behind. What is your mantra this year? Make this the year for you. Make this the year of you. Make this the year about you and your personal mission statement. Number 4 is you must deliver. And know this, sometimes good is just not good enough. I know, it's good. We've heard this before. Good is the enemy of great. But you've got to stop being good and being mediocre and being average and being in the middle of the bell curve. You've got to move it forward. It doesn't count if you just come close. You know, when I was in elementary school, we used to have to run out for recess physical exercise. They made us run out to the flagpole. And we couldn't just run to the flagpole. We had to actually run around the flagpole. If you didn't go around the flagpole, you came back, you'd have to go do it again. You have to get around the pole. Sometimes it doesn't count if you just get close. Reset your goals and try to blow through those goals. Shoot for the stars and you land on the moon. Number 5 is no one is coming to save you. That's the Mel Robbins quote. I got to tell you, nobody is coming to save you. Save yourself. Figure out a way. When there's no way out, find a way out. You've got to have your creative mind working. And the way to get your creative mind working is get the blood flowing and get the energy up and get the motion that creates emotion. Start walking, start moving. Motion creates emotion, and that creates creativity, creative thinking. Number 6, you must put it in the work. You got to put in the effort. Don't major on the minors. Majoring on the minors is when you do a lot of little things and you're really busy, but you're really never getting anything done. You're not moving the big rocks. Man, move the big rocks. You know the principle. You'll get 80% of the results based around 20% of the big rocks that you move. Focus on those 20% that gives you the 80% result. Number 7, everybody plays. Everybody plays. There are no spectators. I've told the story of Israel, and everybody goes through 2 years of military training in Israel. And that way, when they are out in their world and they're out in their jobs, if they ever get attacked by the enemy, everybody stops doing what they're doing. They pick up the arms and they become a soldier and they defend the country. Everybody plays this year. Everybody gets involved this year. If you're sitting on the sideline, you need to get in the game. Number 8. It's not about trying hard. It's not about, boy, I'm doing everything that I can possibly do. Boy, am I working hard, Terry. I'm really, I'm doing exactly what you told me, and I'm really working hard. No, I appreciate that, and I appreciate the effort. But what I'm really looking for is, did you get the results? Are you looking at the needs of the business, and did you get the results that we needed? Were you able to step back and say, what does the business need? I'm really working hard on a project, but what does the business need? And I need to pivot and take care of what the business need is. And I'm telling you that you can do that in your relationships. Take a look at your marriage. What does the marriage need? Are you playing a role? Are you looking at what the needs of the marriage are and making a pivot and saying, this is what I need to do to improve my marriage, my relationship, my finances, my health, my job? Number 9. Autopilot. I mentioned it briefly before. Get yourself out of autopilot. Do something different. The best way to get out of autopilot is change the time that your alarm goes off in the morning. Change the way you start your day. Change the way you drive to work. Change what you eat in the morning. But you've got to take that first 30 minutes. Stop looking at your phone for the first 30 minutes. Take time out for yourself. Feel better about you. Meditate, read, listen, exercise, go for a walk the dog, whatever. By the way, I just got a dog, by the way. I'm really excited about it. Siggy and I just picked up a puppy. It's an American Eskimo. I've always said if I got a dog, I was going to name it 5 miles. That way I could tell everybody I walked 5 miles today. Boom. Hey, but just for fun, I just threw that in there. Great dog. Aspen. We call it Aspen. It's absolutely all white. It's an American Eskimo. Aspen is our friendly dog. Number 10. You got to change your behavior. You got to modify your behavior. If it's not working and you're still doing the things you did yesterday or the things you did last week, you have got to change. Something is broken. Something is not working. You've got to be smart enough to identify and say, something in my finances, in my relationships, in my health, in my job, it's broken and I've got to change the way that I'm doing things. I've got to modify my behavior if, in fact, I want different results. It's got to change. I got a bonus one for you. And the bonus one is you're going to have to take a little bit of risk. It's hard to take risk. It's hard to do things that get us out of our comfort zone. It's hard for us to look at things and say, man, today is going to be different. I'm going to do something different because we get comfortable with being comfortable. And if there was any one thing that we've learned in Orange Theory Fitness, it's how do you get comfortable with being uncomfortable? Millions of people go to the health club, they go to the gym, and they do the same thing day after every other day on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, or Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, or Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and they do the same thing, and they walk on the treadmill at the same speed for 30 minutes, or they run on the treadmill for 30 minutes. And yes, it is good activity, but they don't see their bodies change. They don't get the results they're looking for. And so they say, man, I got to get a personal trainer. And so they go get a personal trainer. Why do they want a personal trainer? Because they're not building the muscle. They're not getting in the shape. They're not getting ready for the event or the activity or the race. And so they need somebody to coach, somebody to hold them accountable, somebody to schedule, somebody to give them a better workout than they can give themselves. But I have to tell you and encourage you to speak up. I have to encourage you to take a risk. I have to encourage you to get out of safe and siloed environment. I have to encourage you to get out of the mediocrity, and you have to take a risk. The only thing that taking a risk can't do or does do, I guess, I'm not sure how to say it, but the reality is the only thing that happens is you find out if it works or if it doesn't work. I was in New York. I was jumping on the ferry to go across the Hudson River into New York City from New Jersey, and I saw a Thomas Edison poster. Thomas Edison is from New Jersey. And he said, the only thing that's holding us back is the ability for us to try one more time. One more time. How many times did Edison try to create the light bulb? How many times could he have stopped? How many times did he fail? How many times did it not work? Until finally, time after time, all the ways he found that didn't work, he finally found the way that it did work. And I would ask you the same thing. How many times have you said, I've tried to get in shape, man. I've tried to save money. I've tried to make investments. I try to get my relationships together and it just doesn't seem to work. The Power of One More. I just bought the book. You can take a look at it by Ed Milet. It's called The Power of One More. It's a powerful book. It's all about doing one more. Can you do a little extra? For your wife, for your husband, for your kids, for your family? Can you do a little extra for yourself and take a little bit more time this year for self-care? Can you, in fact, do a little bit more at work, a little bit above and beyond what people are asking you? Make an extra call. Take care of a customer. Go the extra mile. You know that they say there is no traffic jam on the extra mile. So what am I really talking about? I'm really talking about this year. What's going to be different this year than 2022? What's going to be different in 2023? What's the plan? Are you going to show up or are you going to perform this year? My hope and my trust is that you take some of these things, listen to this one more time. There's a lot of powerful inspiration in some of the things that I'm talking about. There's a lot of power in some of the words that I'm mentioning, and there's some power in some of the activities that I'm suggesting. If you want to change some things in your life, you're probably going to have to make some changes in your life. My name's Terry. I'm your friend.